Welcome to our new lesson of Filmora. In this lesson, we're going to learn about adding video transition, animation, and keyframes. So without any further ado, let's just move into our lesson by opening up Filmora on our device and show to you step by step our transitions. As you can see on my screen that I have opened up Filmora. Now, first thing I'm going to do is going to be importing my media folder because I'm going to be needing a lot of those. So I'm going to do is click on resource. There we go. All of them has been added up. Now I'm going to do is take a couple of these videos and I'm going to be using them step by step. Now, let's say I'm going to do is apply two of these videos over here. We have one, we have two, right? But one thing is that when from one frame to another, you can see that there is this very, choppy type of transition from one to another. So how do you make it a lot more smoother so that it looks better and also professional at the same time? So if you want to do that, or if you want to make it a lot better, then obviously you have to use the transition option. Now, if transition option or the transition tools or transition presets, first thing what you have to do is make sure to go off to this transition option or this transition tab or the section over here which Filmora already has. Now there are different type of transitions which you'll be able to use. Now there is a vast section. You can see we have transitions over here. We also have yours transition which you can also get from your downloads. We have your material packs. If you download them, you'll be able to use it directly from your device, not even on Filmora. Then you also can, save up favorite ones according to you. Then also we have audio transitions, which you can apply over here. And then we have is the transitions from where we get a lot of these, categories to select from. Now there is trending. There's like basic, zoom, popular. Then we have speed, blur, slide, cinematic. Then we have VFX, light, warp, glitch, particles, awards, camera. Then we also have a couple of them more: holiday, MG, seasonal, social media, everything. Okay. So from here, what you basically gonna do is going to be selecting up whichever you want to use. Now let's say I want maybe something like a smooth transition from this one to this one. Now let's say fade is like one of the most, basic. So what you're going to basically do is just click on it and then apply to which frame you want to use. Let's say keep it in between them. So the transition works between two of them. You can see that we have, it looks like this, right? So when you apply it in between them, it will become a transition, okay? And you'll be able to customize it the way you want to. You can see you'll be able to change that. You'll be able to keep it in between so that it adds up to both of it. So the ending of this frame and the beginning of this component or this video. And you'll basically see that this is how it will look like, okay? So there we go. We have our transition applied, and obviously you'll be able to apply a lot more than just that, okay? There are a couple of these options which you'll be able to download, and there are also premium ones which you'll be able to use. You just have to click on download and then you're good to go. After it downloads up, what you're going to do is just apply it. Now let's see how it looks like. There we go. You can see slow zoom. And there are a lot of them, and it's not just that. It has a vast amount of, transitions, which you'll be able to apply. And now, even if you want more transitions to apply, you have a couple of sites where you'll be able to download from. It's basically up to you. And another, you can also customize the transitions according to your needs so that it meets up your criteria. Now, first things first, let's say I'm going to do is use something from this holiday option. So first thing is, what you're going to do is going to be selecting the one which you want. Remove it. You can also remove them just by clicking on it and pressing on delete. Then you're going to do is just click on this one over here, whichever one you want. You can get a preview of that. First off, it will download it up on your device. And after it has been downloaded, what you're going to do is just drag it onto your timeline so that it has been applied, or it will be applied, okay? So wait a bit until it has been applied, and make sure when you're downloading any of these transitions to keep connected to your account, and also make sure you're connected to your internet, okay? So after it will download up on your device, just drag it. And you can see that it has been downloaded. So I'm going to do is just drag it in between. And then I'm going to try playing it. And you can see that this is the transition which I tried to apply. So what I'm going to say is that just fiddle through each and every one of these transition, find out the one which you want to use. And obviously you have this, transition, search bar, which you'll be able to search from. And after you have applied the transition, you can apply where you want it to be. Be on your prefix. You can apply it like, you can see prefix, you can apply it on overlap so that it appears up on both of the screens. You can also keep it on postfix. So make sure to apply that wherever you want. So this is how it will work. And it can also include trimmed frames. You can apply that if you want to, or if you don't want to, you want to customize it the way you want to, or, like in a free form, you can also apply that. But if you want, Filmora to do that for you to, get the frames trimmed, so just keep it turned on. Most of the time I try to keep, it's a hassle sometimes to customize it on my own. And most of the time I try to keep it in between both of them so it just looks a bit better. So basically we're done with our transitions, and this is how you'll basically make your transition or, shift from one frame to another to be a lot more smoother, to be a lot more professional. Okay. So now you know about transition. Now let's move to our animation. Okay. So our animation, what we're going to do is going to be clicking on media first. Now, when you click on your video, you can see on or under the video section, we have animation, or, the section differently to, or let's say an individual panel to animation. Now there is a limited amount of presets for animation. Okay. So there are a couple of these animations which you can apply to make any elements look a bit better. Now there could be fade in. You can apply fade in from one to another. You can apply fade out. You can apply pause. You can apply a slide right. You can apply a slide up. Well, these are basically for elements which we're going to use later on, just a bit later. Okay. So because we are going to learn about keyframing in this lesson. Now, what is keyframing? So there are a couple of things you have to learn about. Okay. So first things first is that I'm going to show you about the basic of keyframing. Okay. So I'm going to do is take it on the first panel, and I'm going to apply a quick text over here. Then I'm going to do is going to be taking it to, so that I want it to be available on the whole thing. Now, first things first is I'm going to go off to the text over here and go off the titles basic. Now, over here on our transform, I want this text to move from here to here on this frame. Now, how do I do that? Now, there are a couple of things which I'm going to be showing you, or there are a couple of things which you'll be able to do with this keyframing. So let's say with this keyframing, I'm going to show you how you'll be able to move object, change the opacity, change the position, and also even change rotation. And just like that, you can apply the same thing on different type of effects, even animation. So first things first is that I'm going to do is, first off, we have our text, right? Let's say I'm going to do is type in snow, B-O-A-R, boarding, okay? Snowboarding. I'm going to do is cut this off. There we go. So we have our text over here, but just like I said, I want this text to move from here to here. So how do you do that? First thing is first, make sure to see where you first want this text to move from. Then you're going to do is go off to, just click on this option over here. Just make sure where you want it to be. And then you'll find out keyframing, okay? So Alt and left click on that. And there we go. We have our keyframing over here. Now, on which part of the frame do you want that text to be at that point? Then I'm going to do is going to be taking this over here. And then I'm going to do is apply this keyframing again. So there we go, from here to here. And now you might think that this is just appearing from this to this, like at that stage. But this is not something which I applied right now, or this show you that this moves, right? It's because I did not select the position of the text. So if you want to do, or if you want to fix the text or the position of the text, first thing what you have to do is that you have to make sure that the text is, or the keyframe is on the position. So remove that. I'm going to remove this too, okay? And then I'm going to do is just take this over here. So here we go. We have our position over here. Make sure to click on the title if you want to. And then we have is the position. Okay. So first thing first, click on that option and click on this keyframe. Now we have our keyframe for just our position. Now you can select the part where you want that keyframe to end. So I'm going to just take it right over here. There we go. Now, if you play the whole thing, you'll basically see the text will now hover directly into the part where we exactly need it. So hope you understood how you'll be able to use the keyframing. Now you can see this is how it works. Now, just like I said, I'm going to be showing you a couple of things which you'll be able to use with keyframing, including our keyframe, including animations. Okay. So as we have our text, now I want my opacity of the video to change according to our keyframe. Now, how do you do that? First things first, I'm going to do is just keep it where it is. So I want it to have, let's say I'm going to go off the basics, and then we have is our opacity, right? Now I want the opacity to be 100% over here, but by the end of the whole thing, I want it to be on 50%. So I'm going to do is apply a keyframe right over here on opacity. Click on this option, opacity. And now by the end of this, or maybe right over here, I want the opacity to be 50% or 47. It's basically up to you. So there we go. We have two of the keyframes. Whenever you make changes on any part of the video or any part of the component, including your audio, it will already give you the end result of that keyframe. So I'm going to do this. You can see now this is moving, and also our opacity is reducing step by step. And there we go. You can see that it has ended up on 51.0. Okay. So this is basically how you'll be able to do that. Now, what if I want the position of my, or even let's say the stretch of my video with keyframe? Now, how do you do that? So what you're going to do is going to be make sure where you want that position to be at. This position. Okay. First, I'm going to do is remove it or maybe unlock it. Now I'm going to, okay, let's just, keep it like this. And then I'm going to do is going to be selecting both of it. And by this over here, I want it to be increased to this much. There we go. Applied. Let's play it back. You'll basically see that it will zoom in. Now it's working kind of like a pan and zoom, but this is basically not pan and zoom. This is basically scaling up. Okay. So this is how it works. Now let's show you how you'll be able to rotate it up too. You can also do the same thing with position. So I'm going to do is just click on position once, and at a certain stage, I want that position to be a whole different thing. So I'm going to do is just change it like this. There we go. Applied. Let's see the whole thing. You can see zooming in, not zooming in, positioning out, and positioning to the left side, and also reducing. Okay. And also our text. So basically, you'll be able to apply all of these keyframes on all of the edits you make. Okay. So just make sure to keep that in mind. And then there are a couple of these options now if you want to rotate it. First off, if you want to remove any keyframe, just click on any of the keyframes. You can see over here, press on delete. Keyframe, delete, delete, delete. There we go. Deleted the keyframes. You can do the same thing over here on text. There we go. So all of our keyframes have been deleted, but our text remains, okay? Because that is just our text. Now, what if you want rotation? You can do the same thing. Click on the video. I'm going to do is apply this rotation over here. And at a certain stage, I want it to rotate totally differently. I want a total 180. So I'm going to do is just check. You'll basically see this is how it works. Okay. So basically this is kind of like, applying or showing the thing automatically just by using a keyframe. Okay. There are a couple of changes which you can make just by using keyframes, and it is very essential if you want to learn how to edit your video. And just like I've shown you, this is very simple, so you don't have to worry about it. Now, as we know, or as we've learned about keyframing, now let's learn about the animation. Now, as we have our animation, now what type of animation do you want? So we have video like animation. Now I want it to fade in. So apply this over here. I want it to fade in. You can see at a certain part, it will fade in. So this is basically our keyframe. You can extend the keyframe if you want to. So you'll be able to do that. And you don't have to worry about how many keyframes you apply. You can apply however or how many keyframes you want to apply in your certain component. You can also apply keyframes on your audios too. I'm going to show it to you right now, just after showing you about this animation. Whichever animation you want to apply, you can also apply it on a video. Let's say I want to apply this video over here, but I want it to be short. So what I want to do is going to be applying right over here, but here with an animation. So I'm going to do is apply the animation over here. I want it to fade in. There we go. Fade it in. And I'm going to just click on that. And there we go. I want it to fade in at a certain part. So I'm going to do over here. And it will like start to fade in slowly. And you can apply more if you want to. Let's say you don't want this. You can delete the keyframe. You can apply more. Let's say I want to zoom in. There we go. Make changes. There we go. Apply it. And there we go. It will just zoom in and apply to the certain area. It's basically up to you how you want to work with it. So try using it however you want. Make sure to keep it on a certain position. You can do that. And you can also, fix up the position just by using keyframes. So as we are basically done with our text keyframe, video keyframe, now the last thing which remains is the audio keyframe. Let me just delete the empty tracks. Now let's apply the audio over here. Now what if you want to make changes? We have our audio, right? So I'm going to do is just reduce the sound just a bit so that you can hear it too and also see the changes of how it works. Now, if you want to apply any keyframes, you have audio keyframes, which you'll be able to apply. You can go off the speed, you can go off the audio. There we have adjustments, right? So on the adjustments, what you're going to do, keyframe, there we go. Now, whichever keyframe or whatever effect you want it to be, you can apply that, okay? Let's say I have this volume, which you want to reduce at a certain part. You can apply that. Now, let's say I'm going to do is apply, remove that over here. First things first, I want that over here. And I want it over here to be, let's say, really less. Or I want it to fade out at a certain part. So let's just play it. You can see this is how it sounds. So I can also increase it just a bit over here so that I can keep it a bit higher. Or let's say I'm going to do is keep it a bit higher so that you can hear it and understand how it works. Now, what if I want a bit lower right over here? So I'm going to do is just reduce the sound again over here. And I want it at the end to be the highest. Okay, so I'm going to just increase it back again. So let's hear it out. So this is basically how you'll be able to use keyframes on your audios too. And just the same way, if you want to remove it, remove, click on the keyframes, my bad. The do is just click on the keyframes and then click on delete. So here we go. Now you've learned about keyframes, learned about transition. You can apply the transition however you want, and also about animation and about keyframes. So thank you for watching this video up till the very end and hope you understood about everything. But still, if you have any confusion or any question about any part of the lesson, feel free to ask me. I'm always there to help you. And let's move on without any further ado to our next lesson of Filmora.